Hello everyone and welcome to another J-Rock video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today what I'm going to be doing is taking you through an overgrown garden cleanup. Okay, this is for a client that's moving house. Okay, and there's someone new coming in. So this is all sort of hip-high grass. I'm going to show you the equipment that I'm using, the procedure and the pricing. But first of all, smash that like button and subscribe. We're growing by the day and it is absolutely amazing to see. And I'm so grateful for it. So before we go into it, smash that button. And remember, hit the bell icon and you'll be notified every time a new video like this gets uploaded. Okay then, so this is the front garden. As you can see, it's very overgrown. It's all very hip high. It's all starting to seed or has seeded. It is a bit of a mess and we're going to tidy that up today. Now, what the key thing to know is that we're only tidying up inside the borders. So everything on the inside of these hedges and them shrubs on the far side, everything on the inside. This up here, where it's on the outside of the borders and it's down the path, I might take the very tops off it, but that's not been put in the quote. If I do that, that'll just be because I've got time. So this is a very key point. When you've got someone coming in to either service your garden if you're the customer, or if you're the person charging, you need to make key specifics on what you're actually doing. Not just, I'm here to tidy up, because that's open for disagreement, really. So be honest, be very sort of to the point with what you're expecting to do. On this one, it's everything inside of the borders, front and back garden, to be sort of tidied up and the clippings taken and dumped what was going to be their skip, but might be somewhere else on the property today. Right, and now we have the back garden. So it's pretty much same as the front, although it is a bit lower in the back here. It's also a bit thinner. So this should come down a lot easier than what the front will. From that, you need to be making sure on your consultation, you take a whole look around the property. Do this with your customer. And if you're the customer, I suggest that you're there with the service personnel coming in. And you're just taking a look and ensuring everything. When I came in here with a customer, I spoke about taking everything on the inside of the lavender, inside on the shrubs, inside of the hedge. Okay, and all that will be going down back to ground level and then picked up with the mower, and the rubbish will be taken elsewhere. Again, you just want to be checking the floor for any sort of random obstacles, even nature, wildlife, okay, and just so that there's no surprises when you're coming to then cut it. All this is key in sort of picking your price up. You're looking at this and you're thinking, how long is this going to take me and what kit do I need? And that all comes into the matter of the price. From there, I've looked at not only what my price is for sort of the time that I'm going to be here. I need to be thinking of strimmer cord that I'm going to be using, the fuel to get here. All of that comes into this price comparison. Then we also have this area here, what is sort of around the car park. And all this is just going to be sort of getting brung down. Nothing too neat. All this is just sort of rough cut. And then finally what we have is a side garden. So when you look around this area, you think, oh, this is like a lot of work. It could be, you know, there constantly. We've got something that's just run into the overgrown there. It's a little duck, I think. Oh, there's several. So this is what I mean. You can't just walk into an area, if you've seen that there. You can't just go in and just start strimming. With countryside places like this, you need to be checking your area over. You need to be making sure that it's sort of safe to do so, not just for you, but for the wildlife as well. So this is where we are. Where we are here, we're going to be literally just strimming down, so rough cutting everywhere that you can see that's already flat. I'm going to be making a path through here. Everything that you can see overgrown, I'm not actually taking all the way back down. You need to be making sure of this when it comes to you and your client. They've also got a couple of paddocks, luckily enough, that we're not going to be touching today. That's going to be left to the farmer to take down with his tractor and, you know, attachments. So again, taking a full look around the property, ensuring you know what you're going to be actually doing on that job so you can price it correctly. With that, you also need to be taking a size, right? So for the front and the back garden together, it comes in at about 300 meters square. That isn't too bad. And I've sort of factored that in for time and what I'm going to be using and all the rest of it. Right, so next, the kit that I'm going to be using. Okay, so I've got my 520 IRX Bulldog Strimmer. This has just got the standard cord that comes with it once you buy it, because it's not being used yet. I've got the standard harness that comes with it that looks decent enough. Some leaf grabbers to be able to pick up sort of any mults of grass that I get together. I've got 3 BLI 200 batteries, and I've got my 940X battery there for the backpack, what should get me through today. I've also got my Bulldog rake and a ton bag, just so I can move waste about if needed. I've got my helmet, and I've also got my little domestic mower that's just going to be basically used as a hoover. So that's what we're going to be using today. And enough talking, let's just get into it. I don't wanna wait. that's where we are so far. We've got roughly half of this front garden now trimmed down. Bearing in mind, I won't be able to probably cut straight onto this. I'm gonna have to trim, clear, then go over it again, probably with a mower, brush it again, clear it, then cut it again. So there's going to be a good few passes on each one when we're doing this. Now what we're looking at when we're talking about pricing, we're looking at how long this is going to take us, like I've mentioned, and we've also talked about sort of all internal factors, so objects and all the rest of it. Other things that we need to think of when we're pricing jobs such like this is your running costs. Right, you need to think about your business costs. How much does it cost you for your fuel? How much is your business, like how much does it cost you to get out of bed in the morning before you even get to the job site? All of that needs to be factored in to every single job that you do. And for the customers out there, you need to realize this as well. It isn't just made off bread and butter, okay? There's a lot that goes into running a business, whether it's the tax that you're paying, whether it's the fuel to get to the site, the maintenance of the equipment, the time it takes, invoicing when you get home. All of this comes into sort of stance when it talks about getting a job completed and pricing a job. So it's not just the time you're there, it's everything else around it. So let's get this one nicked. It's hot. Right, so it takes about 2 hours now to get where we are. We've got the front garden, as you've seen, nice and down. That'll need raked, collected, probably trimmed again before then getting mowed. So the sides here we've done as well, as you've seen. This sort of finish over here, this rougher finish, is for a countryside garden like this, and it's basically just a car park, is kind of ideal. If they wanted me then mow over that with all the stones, it would have been a lot dearer. So you got to kind of take these factors into play when it comes to pricing and what you can offer. Have the conversation with your client and sort of come up with an agreement between yous for what they need and what's best, really, because sometimes that's two different, totally different things. So I'm going to crack on now, get my battery back on and get into that back garden. Right then, we are about 3.5 hours through now, and we're kind of on track, I would say. We're around 70%-ish there, the way there with the bulk of the work. So the front, back and sides have all been knocked down to the required height. Now it's just a case of raking up, doing a once over if needs be, and then cutting it with the lawnmower. Right, that was crazy. That took about 7 hours there, so it was within my budgeted hours. What I mean by this is when you go towards a job, you sort of factor in how many hours you think it's going to take you. And for this, mine was 8, so I was expecting a full working day, and it was slightly just under. But this is the finish that we have in the front garden, what I'm sure they'll be very pleased with. Obviously, as you remember, I'll stick a little side note up here. It was very, it was waist high, and it was a bit of a bugger. As you've seen from them clips, it was sort of going after it time and time again. Really, you'd have something like a rough cutter on this, really just sort of knocking it right down. But you use the kit that you've got, and to be fair, it worked pretty well. So here we have the back garden. Really happy with how this one came out as well. This one was a lot easier to do. Like I said at the start, it was a lot thinner and you can actually feel the floor. The front is actually covered in so much moss. That's what made it so much harder. So this is how we are in the end. Yes, it's no football pitch by any means, but it is a country garden and it was left to go overgrown. So that has been kept nice and tidy now, as much into the border as I physically can, right into each corner, just to hopefully give a very tidy finish that hopefully the client can be very happy with. Also done the front of the property here, and it was, like I said, just taking it back just so pretty much when vehicles come through it's going to be okay, and it's not going to be scratching anyone's cars or anything like that. As for the side garden, it was just being fully taken down. Like I said, it wasn't too bad prior anyway, but as I was saying about taking out the central ground and making the path, that's what I meant. It's almost the shapes created of the garden through the rough areas. But to be fair, in something like a country garden, looks pretty good. You don't want it too formalised, too straight lined. So you can see there's a massive imprint now of where you can actually walk around and be fine too. It's not, like I say, perfect. If this isn't a city house where you can get them really clean lines and you can start laying stripes, this is something that is more countryside. More often than not, the owner, I'm guessing, comes in with his tractor. But you've got to ensure that you get that satisfaction, and this is where it's really important that between the customer and the customer and the service personnel that's working the job, you need to have an understanding of where your head's at, what your expectations are for the final result. And if you came up here and it was like, I've seen you lay loads of stripes down, why aren't they here? Then that needs to be a conversation in the beginning and discuss that can't happen because of the ground, the current state, all the rest of it. Right then, finally done on that one. It was always going to be a bit of palaver just for how high it was. To bring it down that much, you always run into problems. But as long as you expect it and then you control your customers' expectations that we've talked about, then you don't go far wrong. My budgeted hours for this job was 8 hours. So I was expecting to do it in a full day, sort of tipping up around 8 by the time you're ready and good to go. Then you finish by 5 with a bit of a break in the middle. I've stuck to that and I've came in just under an hour less. So 7 hours that's taken me, what I'm more than happy with. But the result is very good. So when the new client comes in, or I say new client, when the new person comes in, tenant, they're going to have a garden that they can kind of keep on top of from the off. Where do I go with pricing on this one? So when I take in my, the price like I was talking about to get out of bed in the morning, for the labour, it's about a 40-minute trip each way with the fuel. I'm not going to go into the full separations of cost. This job comes in at just under £300 for myself. What isn't a day's wage, but this was priced per the job and not just by a day rate or the rest of it. I'm interested to know, what would you charge us as, seeing as everything that you've seen now, the type of job, how it unfolds, how long it roughly takes for your company, for you being domestic, whatever it might be. Stick it down in the comments below. Let's hear what it is. Over on Instagram, currently what's running at the minute, I've had people say anywhere between 150 and up to 600. So there's a huge array of prices there. And quite honestly, I don't think you can price it wrong. I think whatever works for you, your business, for your expenses and everything else, that's what works for you and your company. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe. And, if you like sort of more the business talk, I do have a podcast as well. That's just J-Rock Lawn Care Gardening. And that's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and all the rest of it. So follow me on that as well. But take care and I'll see you in the next video.